Ever feel like the world is spinning out of control, and deep down you wonder if these are the end times described in the book of Revelation? If so, you're not alone. Right now, Bible prophecy is being fulfilled right before our eyes, and most people are missing the signs of the end. Jesus warned us about the last days, about the rise of the Antichrist, the coming of the beast, and the terrifying reality of the mark of the beast. These are not just distant threats, they are happening, and the clock is ticking. Maybe you've seen the Euphrates River drying up, heard about angels in the news, or felt the spiritual warfare in your own life. You know what? This is no coincidence. The world is being shaken, earthquakes, plagues, Judgment Day warnings, and these are all prophetic signs that demand our attention. If you're searching for biblical warning, for answers about Mystery Babylon, fallen angels, the seven seals, or what to do as Armageddon draws near, you're in the right place. Most people who watch these videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so before we dive in, take a moment, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss any of these urgent revelations, because what you'll discover today might change your faith and your destiny forever. Stay with me until the end, because together we're going to uncover the truth about the final signs, the rapture, the second coming, and how you can stand strong when the system of the beast is revealed. Sometimes you just can't shake that feeling that something massive is brewing beneath the surface of the world as we know it. You know those moments when you look around and sense that we're living in extraordinary times? Well, it's not just a hunch. The book of Revelation, woven through the fabric of the Bible prophecy, has been ringing alarm bells about the end times for centuries. For those who've ever wondered if the signs of the end are real or just religious myth, it's time to wake up. The last days aren't some distant future. They're knocking at the door. The warnings about the Antichrist, the rise of the beast, and the mark of the beast are not fairy tales. They are part of a grand prophetic tapestry. And if you found yourself drawn to mysteries like the Euphrates River drying up, or whispers of angels watching over a world on the edge, you're not alone. Now don't worry if some of this sounds heavy. Jesus himself offered not only biblical warning, but also hope. He understood our need for answers in the chaos of the apocalypse, and he didn't leave us without a roadmap. These prophetic signs aren't just cosmic riddles, they're anchors in the storm, guiding those willing to see. So, what does it really mean when we hear about Judgment Day, tribulation, or even the rise of the false prophet? How do we keep our faith strong in a world gripped by the threat of the second coming and the rapture? Spiritual warfare isn't just something for theologians or pastors. It's real, and it's unfolding in the lives of everyday people, folks like you and me, who crave biblical mystery and clarity amidst the end-time events. So imagine sitting across the table from a mentor, someone who's spent years unraveling these mysteries with prayer, patience, and an open heart. He's not just tossing out theories, he's inviting you on a spiritual adventure. He might tell you, hey, it's not about being scared, it's about being prepared. He'd remind you of the hope hidden in the darkest prophecies and show you how even plagues and earthquakes are not the final word. In this series, you'll find practical wisdom, real-life examples, and encouragement to live out your faith right here, right now. Ready to see how these ancient words come alive in our world? Stick with me, and let's walk through the signs together. Up next, the prophetic words of Jesus and the beginning of sorrows. There's something deeply comforting and at the same time, absolutely startling about realizing that Jesus didn't leave us clueless in the face of chaos. When the disciples huddled around him on the Mount of Olives asking, "Lord, what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Matthew 24:3, he answered with a calm wisdom that ripples through the centuries. The book of Revelation and those foundational Bible prophecy passages show us that Jesus didn't sugarcoat things. He spoke plainly about the end times. He described the last days as a period of birth pains, contractions that start subtly but grow more intense and frequent as the world draws nearer to the arrival of the beast and the full unfolding of signs of the end. It's wild, isn't it? Every time there's an earthquake shaking the ground or news of some new plague or disaster, people start to ask, is this it? But Jesus warned that these were only the beginning, what he called the beginning of sorrows. This phrase isn't just poetic, it's a heads up, letting us know that the mark of the beast, the rise of the Antichrist, and the drama surrounding Mystery Babylon are all part of a greater plan. And yet, in the middle of all this, Jesus reminds us not to lose heart. The book of Revelation offers reassurance that even as the Euphrates River dries up and the world feels like it's coming apart at the seams, angels are at work. God's hand is never far away, and the spiritual battle, this spiritual warfare, has always been fought for our good. You know, it's easy to get caught up in panic or to numb out when the headlines scream about the apocalypse, final signs, or another global tribulation. But the teachings of Jesus ground us. He encouraged his followers to pray with purpose, to fast with intention, and to build lives that stand firm when the storms hit. Maybe you've seen a family go through loss but come out stronger because they trusted in biblical mystery and hope. Or perhaps you faced moments when everything felt out of control, but a simple act of faith, like forgiving a neighbor or lending a hand to someone in need, turned the tide. That's real, everyday Christianity in the last days, preparing hearts for the second coming and the ultimate prophecy fulfilled. Now let's explore the first sign Jesus warned about, the global deception that quietly takes root. If you pause and take a look around, it doesn't take long to realize that deception is everywhere. Jesus put this right at the top of his list. Before he ever mentioned wars, famines, or earthquakes, he warned, "Take heed that no one deceives you." Matthew 24:4. That's huge. In these end times, the book of Revelation shows that deception isn't just about obvious lies. It slips in through half-truths, smooth talkers, and the subtle twisting of what's right and wrong. You hear phrases like, "all paths lead to God," or "truth is whatever you make it," and suddenly the lines get blurry. The Antichrist doesn't kick down the door. He walks in quietly, disguised as light. It's that great deception, one that preps the world for the beast, the mark of the beast, and a global shift away from Jesus' true teachings. Ever notice how easy it is to get swept up in new trends or movements that promise happiness, money, or enlightenment? People talk about manifesting abundance, spiritual shortcuts, or chasing after Mystery Babylon's glittering promises. Even in churches, sometimes, the real message gets lost under layers of comfort and convenience. Bible prophecy warns about false prophets, voices that sound spiritual but point away from Christ. And honestly, in an age where the Euphrates River is drying up, when fallen angels and seven seals are discussed on podcasts and documentaries, it's no wonder so many feel confused. Spiritual warfare isn't just about fighting outside threats, it's about guarding your mind and heart from deception that looks almost right. But here's the good news. Jesus gave us tools to spot the real from the fake. He said, "By their fruits you will know them." Matthew 7-16. So if a teaching pulls you away from prayer, fasting, and love for your neighbor, it's time to double-check its source. Let's get practical. If someone offers a quick fix for all your problems or says you can bypass forgiveness, generosity, or humility, take a step back and compare it with what Jesus actually taught. Real faith stands up under pressure and brings peace even in the chaos of the last days, when Armageddon and prophecy fulfilled seem closer than ever. And with every test of truth, we sharpen our spiritual senses for what's coming next. Those wars and rumors of war Jesus spoke about. Let's keep digging. Wars and rumors of war. Those words sound almost poetic until you realize they're splashed across the news every single day. Jesus wasn't mincing words when he said, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. But see that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Matthew 24:6. He knew that in the end times, conflict would become the backdrop of daily life. The book of Revelation lays it out. Every clash, from ancient battles near the Euphrates River to modern conflicts, fits into the grand drama of Bible prophecy. Some folks wonder, is this the war? Are we at the brink of Armageddon? Well, every headline, every uprising seems to echo those ancient warnings. The signs of the end are not just whispers anymore. What's wild is that these conflicts aren't always about land, power, or politics. Sometimes the real battle is spiritual. Behind the scenes, the forces that fuel these wars are the same ones pushing the world toward the rise of the beast and the Antichrist. Angels and fallen angels, spiritual warfare, and the fulfillment of prophetic signs all play a part. It's almost like watching the chessboard of history move, one step at a time, closer to that final sign, Judgment Day. Maybe you've seen families split over politics, churches divided over doctrine, or even countries torn apart by age-old grudges. These divisions are more than random chaos. They're symptoms of a world groaning for the second coming, the rapture, and the ultimate showdown described in the book of Revelation. So, what does that mean for us, right here, right now? For starters, don't let fear hijack your faith. Instead, pray for peace, seek wisdom, and love your enemies, even when it's tough. Jesus called his followers to be peacemakers, Matthew 5:9, even as wars rage around us. And remember, sometimes the most courageous act is to show kindness in a divided world. When the world shouts about apocalypse, Bible mystery, and end-time events, let your actions speak of hope. Maybe you can reach out to someone from a different background, or simply refuse to get swept up in the hysteria. In every war, big or small, Christians are called to be lights, steady and unshaken. And just when it feels like chaos is taking over, a new challenge appears on the horizon, the creeping shadow of global hunger and economic crisis. Ready to dive deeper? You know, there's something sobering about realizing that hunger isn't just an ancient struggle. It's a prophetic sign, echoing straight from the pages of the book of Revelation. When Jesus warned about the last days, he painted a picture where not only would wars break out, but scarcity would grip the planet. A measure of wheat for a denarius, and 3 measures of barley for a denarius, Revelation 6:6. That's not just poetic language. It's a biblical warning that touches every dinner table. Today, global headlines shout about food shortages, inflation, and economic collapse. The Antichrist system, the mark of the beast, and digital control schemes are no longer wild theories. They're conversations in coffee shops, on talk shows, and even at church potlucks. But here's the twist. This famine is about more than empty stomachs. There's a deeper hunger at work, the ache for purpose, hope, and spiritual nourishment. Bible prophecy tells us that in the end times people will chase after wealth, productivity, and even passive income, but feel emptier than ever. The beast isn't just interested in our wallets, he wants our hearts. As Mystery Babylon rises and economic chaos sets in, families find themselves making tough choices. Do we put trust in systems and governments, or do we cling to the spiritual bread that Jesus offers? Sometimes the greatest act of faith is praying before a simple meal and believing that, just as God fed the Israelites with manna in the wilderness, he'll provide for us in unexpected ways. Maybe you've felt that anxiety, wondering if you'll have enough or how you'll keep up in a world obsessed with more, faster, better. Jesus reminds us in Matthew 6:33, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." The final signs, from plagues to earthquakes, will rattle our sense of security. But here's a secret. Gratitude and generosity are antidotes to fear. If you're able, share your bread, forgive a debt, or offer a kind word to someone struggling. Every small act of faith in times of tribulation pushes back against the great deception and roots your life in prophecy fulfilled. And as we watch the world scramble for answers, another sign comes galloping into view: plagues and pandemics ready to shake the foundation once again. Plagues. Just the word alone is enough to make anyone pause. It's almost eerie how the book of Revelation and Bible prophecies speak of pestilence riding in as a shadowy figure, the pale horse of the end times, Revelation 6:8. When pandemics sweep across the world, folks can't help but wonder if the apocalypse is unfolding right before their eyes. These are not just distant threats in old scrolls, they are our lived reality. From whispered rumors about disease X to public health emergencies, every outbreak feels like another wave in the growing sea of signs of the end. People ask, is this it? Has the time of the beast begun? Yet even in the thick of chaos, Jesus calls us not to be consumed by fear, but to anchor ourselves in faith and discernment. But let's be real. Plagues have a way of shaking everything: our routines, our communities, our faith. Maybe you remember empty shelves at the store, isolation, and the constant flood of alarming news. The mark of the beast isn't always a barcode or a microchip. Sometimes it's the surrender of hope, unity, and trust in God's provision. Spiritual warfare during these crises is intense. The great deception thrives on confusion, turning brothers against brothers and neighbors into strangers. Yet even as the false prophet's voice grows louder, the book of Revelation promises that angels are never far. God's people are invited to pray boldly, support one another, and remember the power of love, even when the world is shut down. Try this: check on a friend, share a meal, or lift up someone in prayer. Sometimes a simple act can become an echo of the second coming in someone's life. In these last days, when Judgment Day seems to creep closer with every headline about new diseases or global health systems, keep your eyes open, not just to danger, but to opportunity. Each plague tests our compassion and our resilience. And as Mystery Babylon whispers about safety and control, don't forget the lessons from those who came before. Remember how, in times of tribulation, small communities banded together, sharing what little they had and leaning hard on faith? That's prophecy fulfilled in the messiness of real life. So, as the world braces for the next crisis, let's look up, because just over the horizon, cosmic signs and earthly upheavals are set to take center stage. Sometimes all it takes is one glance at the sky, a blood-red moon, a sudden eclipse, or an earthquake rattling the ground beneath your feet, to realize that we're living in remarkable times. The book of Revelation and the Gospel of Luke, 21:25, speak boldly about cosmic signs and earthly turmoil that would mark the end times. Sun, moon, and stars will deliver messages that no one can ignore, signaling that the last days are at hand. From the mysterious auroras dancing in places they've never been seen before, to the roar of the Euphrates River as it dries up, the world itself seems to be groaning, echoing the Bible prophecy of coming Judgment Day, Armageddon, and the rise of the beast. But here's where it gets real. These cosmic events aren't just news stories or social media trends. They are wake-up calls, a biblical warning, and an invitation to examine our lives, our faith, and our priorities. Maybe you felt that chill when the earth shook, or maybe you watched with awe as a rare solar storm lit up the night. Spiritual warfare isn't just about what happens behind closed doors. It's written in the fabric of the universe, reminding us that Mystery Babylon, the seven seals, and the coming rapture are not just for theologians to ponder, but for every person searching for hope in turbulent times. Angels and fallen angels battle unseen, but their presence is revealed in the shifting tides of nature and history. If you're paying attention, each earthquake, each cosmic event is more than a freak occurrence. It's a nudge from God to build your life on solid ground. Take a moment to pray, to fast, or to comfort someone who's shaken by the news. Maybe invite your family to read together the stories of Noah or Elijah, who trusted God in the face of the unknown. Let these prophetic signs inspire you to stand firm, even as the ground shifts. Remember, it's not about predicting the day or the hour, but about being ready. And as the dust settles, another challenge is already rising: the subtle yet fierce persecution of true believers in these end-time events. There's an ache that runs deep when someone is rejected for their faith. In these end times, the book of Revelation doesn't shy away from the reality. True followers of Jesus will face trials, ridicule, and isolation. Jesus warned in Matthew 24:9, "Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me." It sounds intense, but it's part of the Bible prophecy, a wake-up call for anyone serious about their walk with Christ. Maybe you've felt that sting, losing friends, feeling misunderstood at work, or being labeled as intolerant for standing on biblical truth about the mark of the beast, the second coming, or even everyday acts of faith. But don't be fooled. Persecution isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's in the sideways glances, the jokes at your expense, or the pressure to keep your faith private. The great deception seeps in, making true Christianity seem out of touch, even dangerous. Churches might soften the message to avoid controversy. Yet the apocalypse and end-time events are not times for shrinking back. The rapture, Mystery Babylon, and the rise of the false prophet all push the world to a place where the line between true and counterfeit faith is sharp as ever. Angels and fallen angels aren't just distant concepts. They play out in daily choices and small acts of courage. Judgment Day draws near, and each act of faith becomes more precious. So how can you stand strong? The answer is simple but profound. Go deeper. Invest in prayer even when you're tired. Choose to love your enemies even when it costs you. Celebrate prophecy fulfilled even in small victories, like forgiving someone who's wronged you or sharing hope with a neighbor. The final signs aren't meant to paralyze, but to propel you into action. Remember, spiritual warfare isn't about winning arguments. It's about being anchored in love and truth. As you hold the line, know that the true test of faith is just around the corner, the unveiling of a global system already in motion, the system of the beast. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you depend on, your finances, your identification, your ability to buy or sell, is controlled by a single, invisible system. It sounds like a plot twist out of a sci-fi thriller, but the book of Revelation makes it clear. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark. Revelation 13:16-17. This is more than just a biblical warning. It's Bible prophecy unfolding before our eyes. In 90 years, today's world, digital currencies, biometric scans, and centralized databases echo the prophecy of the mark of the beast, blending convenience with control. But here's the kicker. Most people won't notice it happening. It slips in quietly, wrapped in promises of security, progress, and the allure of Mystery Babylon's digital wonders. You might see news stories about digital IDs, cashless societies, or systems claiming to protect you from plagues or economic crisis. It's tempting to shrug it off as just new technology, but the signs of the end remind us to pay attention. The Antichrist doesn't need to declare himself on billboards. He only needs a world distracted and willing to trade freedom for comfort. As these end-time events accelerate, the push for one-world systems grows bolder, and the shadow of the final signs stretches longer. So, how do we respond? Jesus calls us to spiritual alertness. Double down on prayer, fast for discernment, and fill your heart with the hope that only comes from Christ, not from any system, no matter how advanced. Look for opportunities to share truth, even when it's unpopular. Encourage your family to be wise stewards of technology and finances, anchoring everything in biblical principles. Remember, the 7 seals are being broken, spiritual warfare intensifies, and the stage is being set for the rise of the beast. But those whose faith is grounded in the book of Revelation know true security is found not in what the world offers, but in what God has promised. And as the system tightens its grip, the greatest decision of your life draws near, the choice to stand firm, no matter the cost. Let's talk about that as we bring everything together in our final prophetic call. So here we are, standing on the edge of history, watching Bible prophecy come alive in real time. The book of Revelation isn't just ancient poetry. It's a living map for navigating the end times. Every prophetic sign, wars, plagues, famine, cosmic upheaval, spiritual deception, echoes through our lives, challenging us to wake up and prepare. The rise of the Antichrist, the looming shadow of the beast, and the mark of the beast are not just distant threats. They are choices that test our faith, courage, and hope. If you've ever felt the chill of spiritual warfare or wondered how to survive Judgment Day, know that you're not alone. Countless believers across the world are wrestling with the same Bible mystery, searching for answers and strength. But here's the secret. Jesus didn't leave us powerless. He gave us tools, prayer, fasting, love, and truth, to walk boldly through tribulation. These final signs aren't just about surviving, they're about shining. Every act of faith, every moment of forgiveness, every time you reach out to help someone in need, those are the ways we prepare for the second coming and the rapture. Don't let the world's noise drown out the whisper of the Holy Spirit. Anchor your life in the hope that prophecy fulfilled is coming, and that in the end, the victory belongs to those who stand firm. The system of the beast may be tightening, but God's promise is unbreakable. So, as we close this journey, remember, you have a choice. Will you live in fear, or will you rise up in faith, ready for whatever comes next? The signs of the end are here, but so is the opportunity for a new beginning in Christ. Don't walk this path alone. Seek God, build a community of faith, and keep your eyes open. The adventure isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning. Stay with us, and let's keep uncovering the book of Revelation together, one prophetic sign at a time. Before you go, let me ask you, which of these prophetic signs speaks loudest to your heart today? Have you seen evidence of the end-time events in your own life? Drop your answer in the comments. Your story might encourage someone else on this same journey of faith. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another Bible prophecy or book of Revelation teaching that could transform your understanding and prepare you for what's ahead. And hey, if you're hungry for even deeper mysteries, click on the next video that's appearing on your screen now. Together, let's keep seeking, learning, and growing stronger in these last days. God bless you. See you in the next video. I'm Pedro.